From our discussion, you talked about you wanted to talk to me about your dad. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. We have a crappy, if not just non-existent. Well, it's a non-existent relationship. I mean, I haven't talked to my dad in years, and it affects a lot of what I do. I think that there's just so much hanging over me. It's not necessarily that like he directly influences things that are going on in my life, but I feel angry a lot.
Well, do you have any like specific experiences like that you had with your father that might mold your opinion of him?
Yes. There's one that comes to mind right away. It's when I was young. I mean, I was probably like 12, and I was just kind of a typical 12-year-old. I was pretty shy. I had a couple friends, but I felt I was pretty self-conscious. I go to school. I was in a class with a couple kids that were pretty popular and that kind of, sometimes took shots at me just to look cool in front of other kids. And I felt, and my dad knew about this too. Like he knew about the situation. I felt like my self-esteem was kind of low, because of this situation. And I remember one time I came home and my dad was drunk and he was just angry and he started to say mean things to my mom. It was just who I love, it was just an angel of a lady who he had no right, So I interjected and I tried to do what was right and I tried to stop him. I started saying, don't say those things to her, and he just reacted in the most is belligerent. He started playing on things, saying things to me about how I'm such a loser, saying some of the same things that he knew that these kids at school said to me, and it just shattered me. And he'd said mean things before, but at this point, it wasn't so much a matter of. It wasn't just that I believed it at face value. At this point, I just thought this is the first time I definitively thought, this guy's a jerk, and I hate him. I have no good feelings toward him. I just completely hate him. That's when I realized that, and it feels like everything from there just got worse. Once I was able to really come to terms with that and face reality.
So it was in that one experience right there when you had that experience, that moment with him, that when he started talking about your mom, and then he turned on you and he was like, you're just started railing in on your self-esteem issues already. If you realized that you hated him.
I hated him. Yeah, I hated him, and I realized, this guy's got no virtues. This guy's nothing. This guy's he's my dad. He gave birth to. He
didn't give birth to you per se, but
he didn't give birth.
He was a participant.
But he had something to do with it, and that's it. That's his involvement in my life. He had something to do with me being made, brought into this world, and he's a nothing.
So he has no redeeming qualities.
No.
You're saying he has none at all.
No.
When you look at him, he is pure evil. He is worthless. He's dead to you. That guy, really?
Yeah. He's the epitome of what good thing? I just described the situation. You know what? This is the time that I learned I hated him. Well, guess what? There was probably 1,000 times. All right? I don't know. I might be exaggerating, but I remember, feels like there's 1,000 more times throughout my childhood that he did things like this. And just showed he's a piece of crap. He's got nothing. That's all he ever does.
Fair. Just a quick question though. If you have another person, if we had someone else who doesn't know you, me, him, or anyone else that's involved, if they looked at him from a third-party perspective, would they see that scumbag of a man with no qualities good whatsoever?
No, they'd see. All right, they wouldn't see everything. They'd see.
Would they see anything good?
Well, okay, if they looked at him for a week, then they might say that he's a hard worker. He was drunk by night, but he went to work in the day. They'd probably see that. Maybe.
They might see that he's a hard worker. But he works hard at being a jerk, right? No?
Well, just with his job, he kept his job. The guy drunk, drunk by night, but he not every night. He wasn't it was periodic. But the point is that he kept his job throughout this time, and he did a good job there. I know that he got promotions and raises and stuff. So I'm sure that there's some qualities there, but What does that have to do with me? I don't know, but
See, you said that he was a hard worker. Like another person would see that he's a hard worker if they looked in for a week.
Among other things. But you asked me what positive things.
Yeah,
that's a positive.
That's fine. Like, but when you started talking about good qualities that he has, even though you said he has absolutely none, do you see that there might be a little bit of a
yeah, I know what you're saying. There's a different. I know. Okay. If we're gonna talk literally, he's a person. You know, he's like a person like me. I mean, you know, I've been watching people for years. You know, long enough to know that like every person has good things and bad things, and that there's no such thing as a purely evil person. With I don't know. I mean, some people could argue otherwise, but I think for the most part, people have good and they have bad, and you know he was a good worker and stuff. But as far as I was concerned, I mean he was nothing. You know he was just a piece of garbage. You know he might have, you know maybe that brought money into our family, but you know what? Like he did not support me. I did not get what I needed.
Did you notice that when you were talking about him, when you were talking about his good qualities, that you were actually a little bit more relaxed? You actually seemed to say quite a bit of a number of nice things about him. Surprisingly nice. Like, he was human, that he's made mistakes, things like that. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure I just said it. I mean, I can't deny it. Like, yeah, and I did. I mean, I know that when I talk about him in relation to me, like, it just makes me feel so angry. Sure, like, if I'm going to talk about that stuff, I'm not going to feel angry, because why? That doesn't make me angry that he was a hard worker. You know, that wasn't the issue. But you're right. Sure, I didn't feel the same kind of anger when I talked about that.
Well, yeah. Well, in studies and through some kinds of research, and I'm sure through just talking to people, like you said, you watch people, you know people.
Well, I mean, I have experiences.
Yeah, you seem like a people person
all the time.
But like when you start talking about the good qualities of the person, you start realizing other good qualities. Like you start seeing human problems, human indiscrepancies, human issues. Like I'm not saying that he's a great person, and I'm not saying that what he did was right, but you did notice that there were good things. And the more you talked about him being a normal person, a human, humanizing him, the more you realize that there were actually good qualities to him. The more good qualities there were, and the more relaxed you became. That tends to run through almost every research study that I've done on people and relationships. The more positive things you look at, the more positive things you can think of.
Would I want to? I mean, is that good? I mean, do I want to think about this guy positively? Because I mean, he hurt me, you know.
Well, yeah, but why would you come to me if you didn't want ever to have a relationship with him? Or any kind of positive connection.
Okay, yeah, I can see where you're going with that.
Would you rather have a positive or a negative connection with him?
Well, it's within myself. I mean, I don't care to see him, talk to him, but I don't want to be so hateful. I want to feel. I'd rather feel, you know, at least neutral. Mm-hmm. Positive, sure, would be good, without being unrealistic. I suppose. Yeah.
You know, in my own life, my mom and I never really talk for a number of reasons. We've had our own discrepancies throughout my entire life. Things she's done to me, my older brother, my older sister, things like that. But, you know, even though all those horrible things have happened, and even though I didn't talk to her for a number of years at a time, when I started talking to her, when I really started opening myself up to the possibility that maybe we might be able to talk, we might be able to have a good relationship, we might become closer, we were able to get closer. We were able to form a relationship that was not muddied up with lies and contention and things like that. And I actually wanted to be with her and to visit her and talk to her.
Is it a good relationship?
It's not a great relationship, but it's better than it was. And it makes it easier to talk to my siblings and to talk to her and to ask for help, which is nice. And even just have a person that knows me well enough, that cares when things aren't awesome. Do you believe that you might want to have that kind of relationship with your dad?
I don't know if I want to have a relationship with my dad, but I do know that I want to let go of some of the hard things. I mean, part of it's my religious belief. Like, you know, no thanks to my dad. Like, I hold Christian beliefs, you know, and I believe that we're supposed to forgive other people, and I don't just believe that blindly. I believe that when we do so, that we're letting go of things that are hurting us. And I if nothing else, I mean, I'm not going to say that I want a relationship with him, because I don't. I don't trust him.
We're not going to go that far then. Right?
Yeah, no, I don't care to work on that, but I do want to let go, and I want to wish him the best. I want to sincerely wish him the best. That's what I want to do.
Awesome. Well, it seems like, from what I can see, you really do want to wish him the best, even though right now you can't, and that's totally understandable. Next week, like before we meet up again, I want you to write a list of any good, any good things about him, any good aspects of him that come to mind. Any at all, even if it's just good hair. It would be worth it.
It's bald.
Then not good hair. But besides that, but right now we're out of time.